All right, folks, queen rearing step 4. This is Phil the Bee Man, and I'm out in my queen mating yard today, and I'm going into nucs that the queens were caught out of, and so I call those holes when I've made a space for a queen cell. You can do that either by creating a new nuke or a new unit, or you can take an existing hive, split it, and create a new. Or, as in my case, what I've done is I have the existing hive from which I've taken the queen and put her into a production colony, and then I have now got a queen cell. So let's have a look at what I've got here. This is my little carry pack, just a lunch bag from, probably Salvation Army or Walmart or something like that. Um, Handy tip, you could get a pretty cheap little temperature thing that tells you what your temperatures are. For transportation, you don't want it as hot as an incubator. Um, what I actually do is have old freezer packs in the bottom, gel pack, and I keep those in the incubator so they're as warm as the incubator should be, but they're not producing extra heat. And then I have the cells inside the foam, and so that will be put inside the hive in the brood area, and these cells are pretty hot. They're just about ready to hatch. In fact, some of them did when I put them in the incubator last night, so they didn't hatch in the hive, and by the time I got back to them today, some of them had already hatched. But I think I have enough. So then you open up your hive. There's the hole, and my marking system is if it's in the middle, then it's true for both sides. These are 2 nucs here. And so I'm going to just take that queen cell, squeeze the frames apart, put it in. Same on the other side. Close it back up. And then I mark that I sold it, in this case, on the 27th of May. So sell 27. And that's also true for both sides. It saves writing out twice. If you have one side is different than the other, then you might have to mark something out. Okay, let's do that again. I'll just turn the camera. No blanket on this one. And we're starting to run a little bit short on bee equipment. My hives are looking pretty good, and I've made quite a whack of splits. So I'm starting to, scrounge around home for lids and blankets. I guess that's a good thing. These cells can't take a whole lot of sunshine. So notice I'm keeping that pad, the cells are underneath there, but I won't let them get roasted in the sun. So I always keep something on there. Next one. Oop. Now, you can just, if it's a really strong one like this is, you can just put those cells in between the top bars. That's fine, especially when you have the insulated blanket. That'll make sure it doesn't get either roasted or frozen. Given our crazy climate, you get both maybe in the same day. Mark it. So that's putting queen cells into hives. Now, you can do that with full hives, but having a whole lot of bees wait while you, because it's quite a time frame. Like let's think this through. That sucker is going to hatch almost for sure tonight or tomorrow. Queen mates on like the 5th or 6th day. 4 or 5 days more at least, but typically it's a lot of people would use like a 12 or 14 day cycle. So there won't be fresh eggs in this unit from, it's the queen is caught a couple days ago, so there's probably a few eggs left in there, but not many. That's about the right level of queenlessness to be just when the supply of eggs is starting to taper off. And then you want, probably to leave it alone. Stay out of the bee yard while all those queens are trying to orientate to their hives. So you really don't want to open it again. And you'll see eggs, but not many larvae in 2 weeks. So if you have too much bee power just sitting around waiting, that can be kind of an inefficiency. So you wouldn't want to split your whole operation up into a bunch of small units where the bees aren't rearing any brood because they're waiting for the queens. So that's something to keep in mind. It's also useful to think briefly about drone availability. And I've got, I guess, my own perspective on this. You hear in all the queen rearing books, and when you have the big experts come from, that produce tens of thousands of queens, they do think about drone availability, hives set up to produce lots of drones. I think for the person whose goal is self-sufficiency, drone availability isn't a killer factor. If you're trying to raise enough queens for yourself, you've got 10 hives and you'd like to produce 10 more queens to either replace your queens or to start another thing, you're not going to have a drone availability issue. For me, I've got 1,500 hives, and I'm raising 300 queens in a cycle. The drone supply is not a problem. So a rule of thumb I like to use is to have as many hives in an area where you have your matings as you're going to have queens, and you're going to be just fine. And so that's kind of my thinking is, in here I have bee yards spread around the area, and enough that when these, I'm putting in about 100 queen cells today, there's 100 of my own hives within drone flight distance of this site. And I've never seen drone availability be a problem. And so that's not something I spend a ton of time thinking about, because my queen production levels are low. If you're suddenly planning to become the next mega star in the queen rearing world, and you've got 1,000 hives and you want to produce 100,000 queens, well, then you've got to think about where your drones are coming from, because you're not producing enough yourself. All right, that's it for today, folks. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.